My name is Joe Owen. I'm an expert on leadership. I write about it, I talk about it, and I even do it. In this programme, I'm going to help a head teacher with the sort of leadership challenge many schools face. At Ferndown First, head teacher Phil Minns faces dwindling numbers and dwindling income to maintain school standards. He wants to improve the image of his school in the community to reverse this decline. The problem is, what does he know about marketing?
They will not come and even visit us unless our website is looking better.
So what do they see when they go onto the web?
This is terrible. Big embarrassment.
In fact, the last news headline is from 10:04.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit rusty by now, isn't it?
Yes, and it's not like we're making washing powder. It's not like we're simply going to say, ours works best.
Time to find out if Planet Business and Planet Education will collide or collaborate. External communications is what we on Planet Business call PR and marketing. But I hear these are grubby words on Planet Education, so let's see if I can't clean up their reputation with a few lessons learned from my time spent flogging detergents. So can schools, and should schools, be sold like washing powder? As it happens, I'm the person that put the blue speckle in Daz. And if I'd tried selling washing powder like schools are sold, I'd have been out of business fast.
Hi, Joe.
Phil.
Hi, well.
Well, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Good, glad to
Do you
meet
want to
you.
come down?
Please, yeah. Do you feel you're in competition with other schools?
Competition isn't something that usually you would consider in education. It's not like we're making washing powder. So competition is a very strange beast here, because I don't want to be out there saying, we're simply the best school here, come to us. But equally, the information that we're given says that we should be looking at getting between 70 and 80 children every year, and we're getting between 50 and 60 every year.
So enrolments have been going down and funds follow the children.
Yep.
So you're losing both
We are.
children and money to your partners.
In effect, you could say that, yes.
It makes it a funny sort of partnership, isn't it?
It does. That's how it works for us.
Now, I'm from Planet Business, and if I was in a business where my local competitors were stealing my customers, the children, stealing my money, the funds, and I was running at a deficit, I'd be up in arms, and I certainly wouldn't be calling them partners. So we talk about ethical promotion, but isn't this just competition?
It creates a difficult situation, but that's not one that's created by local schools. That's one that happens nationally. There's the idea of choice for parents allows that to happen.
So there's a real stress and strain there between your professional values and the reality of the market system that is in place and underlying parental choice here. Mm-hmm. Interesting situation, and a difficult one as well.
Yeah.
So shall we see what washing powder can do for this? All right. I want Phil to see the school through the eyes of prospective customers, the parents. So why not start out at the front gate with their first view of the school? What you've got over there is competing brands. You've got the adult education with their sort of very strong yellow. You've got the local authority with their green on green. You've got your own branding. So you've got different brands on one site all trying to do different things, and through no fault of your own, that lands up being a bit of a pig's breakfast. You're not in control of your destiny here.
Mm-hmm. So this is where our youngest children start.
That's fun, isn't it?
Because this was built as a middle school, it means we have fantastically large spaces. So we have about 60 children in what is a very, very large space from right the way around. And we also have an outside area as well that the children use when it's not raining.
From Planet Business, the question is, how do you brand yourself and how do you market yourself?
Well, we've been thinking about that quite a lot recently. In fact, I've got stuff in my office if you want to have a look, and I can show you a few things that we've been
All right,
working
let's
on.
have a look. Yeah, you don't have to spend a lot of money on branding.
Well,
If it's done by the kids, it's often the best thing. Actually.
Well, what we had actually, this is our current sweatshirt with the previous. Well, that's the one that we use at the moment.
Yeah.
We felt that we wanted something that was more contemporary and reflected how we were going in the school. So we've been working on various things, and this is a sort of mock-up of what we're on at the moment. What we've actually been trying to do, and we've actually had new signs made out of this as well, is have something which is smarter and sharper and much more contemporary.
For many people, the first port of call isn't actually going to the school. They won't even see the literature. They'll go straight onto the web.
Yeah.
So what do they see when they go onto the web?
This is terrible. My big embarrassment. The website is something which we really haven't given any attention to. We haven't had anyone to take it over.
So
I've had governors
when
in
was it
various-
last really updated?
We have a governor who updates.
In fact, the last news headline is from 10:04.
Yeah.
So that's a little bit rusty by now, isn't it?
Yes, and yes.
And in fact, if I look at the visitor numbers, 48,000 in 5-6 years. The question is now, how do you take it to the next generation where it becomes something which persuades prospective parents that this is the place to put their children? Phil is caught between a rock and a hard place. The values of the profession are driving him to cooperate with other schools. The demands of parental choice and the educational marketplace are driving him to compete. I think Phil could do with a little primer in marketing. So let's start by thinking about how in the business world we would think about customers' needs and how we would describe them. And we can think of them at 3 levels, basically. One is, what are the features of the product that they're buying? Okay, so if we think of the computer, your computer might have so many gigahertz and megahertz and RAM and ROM and gigabytes and stuff like that. So the next level at which we can think about it is, well, what are the benefits of all those? A graphics card might mean it can do video editing for me. Now the hopes and dreams take it 1 level further. So they may not just be selling, you can do video editing, but this is your chance to become a Hollywood mogul. So there's the product and there's the hope and the dream. And you've actually got to get both right. So this is now quite a complicated agenda we face.
Yeah.
And I'm acutely aware that as a head teacher, you're kind of left alone on this. Phil needs help. He's flogging features and he needs to start selling dreams. So I suggested we seek some professional marketing expertise to see what they will make of Phil's challenge. Would that be interesting?
It'd be very interesting, yeah, to see how they could deal with our situation. Yeah, very interesting.
Well, let's see if we can find one and give them the challenge. Situation assessment. Lots of logos, lots of ideas, no consistency. Technically speaking, it's a pig's breakfast. And what's with these square boxes? They could be for a design agency, a transport company, or even a government department gone funky. They tell no story and nothing about the school. I think it's time for some professional help. Proximity is a top advertising agency more used to looking after corporate giants like Tesco, Pepsi and Volkswagen. A rural primary school may be much smaller, but the marketing challenge is just as big. What are they going to make of Phil's efforts? Later, I'll take Phil to London Underground. Whatever you think of the product, the logo is a stunning and iconic success. So first stop, Proximity. Their executive creative director, Caitlin Ryan, is also a mother of children at primary school. She knows at first hand the problems Phil faces.
So what's quite useful in marketing is to try and break the problem down to sort of be able to focus your marketing efforts because, you know, within limitless budget and limitless time, there's lots of things I'm sure you would do. Should we have a look at your marketing material?
Yeah, can I give you a health warning first of all? I said to you at the beginning, I know very, very little about marketing except as a consumer. And I think from the chats that I've had with Joe, I've been perhaps more influenced by appearance than substance.
Right, okay, good. That health warning is taken. Just sort of looking at your homepage, how do you feel that's working?
It doesn't engage an awful lot, I don't think. I mean, it gives you information, it can take you to other places, but it's quite cold.
You know, your website is very, very important because that's where the first contact with your brand is probably going to come from. So it needs to set out your stall properly, because you're not going to get anybody on that site except for people who are potential audience. So you need to treat them that way. They are warm at that point. So consider them that and ask for the next stage of commitment.
What's the legacy of the Ferndown First brand? Where are you coming from on that?
We had originally, the plan was that we would use the original sort of gorse and butterfly image that we had, and we actually sort of wanted to, I don't know, pixelate it and put it into coloured boxes behind and all these different things. And we didn't have the skills to do that.
Right.
So we came up with 4 coloured boxes.
Talk to me about the 4 coloured boxes.
4 coloured boxes. They're really nice colours.
They are lovely colours. What do they mean?
We see what we offer in the school as being in 4 distinct areas.
Right.
There's care, development, learning and opportunities.
Okay.
And we like the idea of using those 4 colours to represent those 4 aspects of the school.
Great reason, good.
What we've already got, we've got a much older logo,
Right.
which I was quite happy to move on from.
I mean, I think that actually what you've got here is quite a charming logo, and the idea of pollination and blossoming, and you know, this logo is actually saying quite a lot. And what you possibly could think about is introducing the colours that you've used to divide your information up. I get your point about modernity, but I think there are other ways to show you're modern. 4 boxes doesn't make you modern. The problem I have with the boxes, I don't think it's very warm, whereas this is more charming and warm.
So now I'm really unsure about what we should do, and also you were saying about getting the logo to do more for us, work harder.
Yes, yeah.
And I like that idea. What would you think we should do?
I'd probably, you know, to go back to asking your target audience, I'd have a, you know, maybe have a wine and biscuit night one night and just invite a few people around and do a focus group. Then I think that would be how I would suggest going forward.
So you've got it cracked now, Phil.
You look depressed.
So we've spent part of the day in an advertising agency. They would be charging you as a client a fortune for their advice, and an even bigger fortune for executing that advice. But the great news is that you don't need to spend a fortune, because you've got all the resources of an advertising agency probably within your community. The best way to get the message out amongst the key influencers is to involve them in crafting and delivering the message, because then it's their message and they're going to be really committed to making sure everyone's heard it.
I mean, there's an awful lot of learning, I think, for me, and I think a lot of it will take place sort of on the train home, really, you know, when I've got a chance to think about it. But it's things like those focus groups and finding out what people really think.
Phil has learnt that you need to listen to what your customers want before you do anything. One company that has done just that is London Underground. What have they got in common with Phil's school, and how do they communicate effectively with such a large and diverse community? Paul Morley is a Director of Media Relations at Transport for London, and he's invited us to take a privileged peek at the communication strategy behind the iconic logo.
So with the Rundle that you've got, you haven't changed it dramatically.
Not at all. I mean, rather than junking something and coming up with some funky new design, what we've done is we've taken that roundel that signifies the heritage that people know. They know what they're going to get. Branding's really important, but branding can go wrong. I mean, if we think about Royal Mail wanted to symbolise that they got a new funky business, and they switched to Consignia. It didn't last very long. They had to go back to Royal Mail. And what you need to think about is, don't just start inside the school and work out your messages. Mm-hmm. You really need to talk to people and find out what do they think about your school. You're getting feedback from parents, you're getting feedback in conversations, but actually, look at what the Labour Party did in 1997. They held focus groups, they talked to people, they worked out exactly what people thought of them, and what did they like, what did they not like. And actually, it's a very good idea for the school to do this. So what you need to do is you need to talk to people, get a group of people together, a group of local people, ask them, what do they think about the school? You've got everything you need. You probably don't need me. You just need to go off and do it. But the one thing I'd say is you're competing with so much these days, television, the newspapers, conversations, and so you've got to get your message across. So how do you refine that message? And one of the tricks is, imagine somebody you have to get across to, you have to get a message to. Maybe you walk on holiday, you get into a lift and Bill Gates is there, and you suddenly think, wow, if I could get Bill Gates to give me the money to put a computer room in my school, it would be fantastic. Bill presses lift floor number 14. It's going to take you 30 seconds to get to the 14th floor. What do you tell him in those 30 seconds to get him to open up his checkbook and, before he gets off on the 14th floor, write you a check for the computer room? That's what you've got to think about. Encapsulate your message in 30 seconds and get it out there.
And find Bill Gates in the lift.
Find Bill Gates in the lift.
Interestingly, London Underground and Proximity are saying the same thing. First, ask your customers what they think of your product, then make sure you highlight how your product can meet their hopes and dreams. That's plenty for Phil to take on. I just hope he can follow some of the experts' advice. It's 6 weeks since we last met, and Phil has taken some of the first steps which Caitlin and Paul were urging. The most important thing is to find out what your customers want. So Phil has invited some prospective parents along to find out what they think about his school. This should be interesting. Focus groups are about getting people to talk honestly. Easy in theory, tough in practice, especially with cameras present. So who have you got coming?
We've got some parents of children who are going to start school in September.
Right, so this is your target market.
Yeah.
If we look around us, it's this very casual, relaxed environment with lots of TV cameras and observers and all that sort of
Very
stuff.
natural.
Very natural. And the danger is they're going to be so polite that they're kind of dishonest. They don't really tell you what they're thinking. So have you thought about that, and how are you going to make sure that they're really being honest with you?
All we can do, I think, is keep stressing to them that what we're trying to do is improve the information we give. My youngest son is also starting school in September next year, and so I'm in the same situation.
That's great. So you're going to be building some nice empathy with them at the beginning. You have a clear challenge. What's the hook? How do you get them to look? You have some very clear objectives about what you want from them, and you've got a nice clear process for how you're going to get them to talk and be honest and give you the information you want.
Well, let's hope we get some good feedback.
Absolutely. All right, so let's see. Phil's got to make them feel comfortable and use his 2 ears and 1 mouth in that proportion.
One of the things that we've been trying to do is get people into the school. But also, if you were in that position of making a choice, what are the things that are going to get you in to have a look, first of all?
The facilities that the school offers, maybe the league table, how well it does, because you want your child to be happy when they start in the school, and if you know that they're happy, the results will probably follow in the same way.
So what sort of information do you think, before you start with your child in school, is going to make you think they will be happy?
Word of mouth from other parents.
Yeah.
If you had
recommendations.
Yeah, if you had recommendations and parents' comments in like a little welcome pack with pictures of the school.
And the overwhelming majority of our children take to school like a duck to water. We've actually done that, I think, last year on Family Learning Week. We gave the Year 4s did that. One of the other things that we're aware of is that...
Phil's finding this tough, but never give help until it's wanted.
I feel like I'm sort of getting towards... What do you think, Joe?
Okay, time to move the conversation along.
But you were giving some wonderful sort of insights into it all. It was really good to listen to. When you make the decision, is this a sort of
totally logical decision where you have your list of criteria of this is what I want, and you score everything and come up with some sort of score of this school versus that school, or is it much more based on feel and like this?
A lot of it is based on feel,
Yeah.
because I had a look around 3 schools and I thought, I don't want him in a school there where he's going to come out in tears. I want to find him a school where he's going to be happy.
And when did you start thinking about it?
When they're born, you start thinking of nurseries and schools and everything. It just all flashes by you.
Well, a fright-
leaflets in the hospital. What did you get out of it? What were the major takeaways?
I think the key first one is that that leaflet being about happy children, and I think that comes through in perhaps in the information we give on the website first. The first layer, the first piece of information that parents will get about our school is that the children here are happy.
Why are you going to lead on that?
Because clearly from the parents' point of view, that's the most important thing, that's the first thing they're thinking about.
So it's not league tables?
Those things come in.
IT suites?
Yeah, it's not, but it's not the first layer, is it? And I think it comes back to so many things that we've talked about the fact that perhaps I and we as a school take those things for granted.
Right, so this is wonderful marketing. Most schools will try and sell features. You're actually selling the benefit. Phil, I think you've just become a great marketing expert because this is wonderful stuff that you're doing. All right, great. I'll be back.
Cheers, Joe.
Despite its size, the group yielded real insight about how prospective parents choose a school. And that should really help Phil.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, Mr. Min. Good morning, everybody.
You are doing very...
2 weeks have passed and Phil has gone silent. In business, silence is never golden. It's time to go back to Ferndown first to find out what's up.
Sun's out. It's not raining. We'll do a super day. Hi, Joe.
Phil, very good to see you again. How are you?
Nice to see you. Very good, thanks. Enjoying a good sunny day
Yeah,
so far.
absolutely, you really kept it for us. Wonderful. You've been busy over the summer, I can see. You've got
Yeah.
all these wonderful coloured things.
It's
in
the
everywhere.
same square boxes. They're still not telling a story. Phil says they're temporary and
if
cheap,
you
but
stand here
who
now-
cares? Do they communicate happy children?
We've repeated those in larger format on the fence and down on the wall down there, so that you're getting this repeated, the repetition of those colours.
But they're not always the same colours, are they? Quite. You've got
No.
yellow, blue, green, orange, and you've got yellow, blue, yellow. Well, but fun, bright colours anyway.
Yeah, but from your lofty position with the money that you've got, if you give me the money, I will replace all of my signage to get the same colours.
Ah.
But until we're in that position, we're working on a shoestring.
Yeah.
You see, this is the difference, isn't it, between
Absolutely.
planet business
Yeah.
and planet education.
Going into reception, things are improving dramatically. Phil's really picked up on the message from the focus group and has made sure that happy children are the first impression that parents get when they enter his school. Well done.
We've started putting some information up which is about what children do when they first come to school, and we're going to use this as the basis of the information that we give to parents that came out of our focus group, where they said they wanted to know what children are going to do for the first day or so they're in here. And we'll include in that toilet information about the toilets and snack time and all those things to cover all those bases to reassure parents and children so they know what school's going to be like.
Very practical, very nice. Yeah.
It's something we would have done anyway, but we've just sort of kick-started it. We've just thought more carefully about this area and how improving this area makes a difference to us. But also, you can tell from being in here, we've got children singing at the moment, doing a fantastic job, and these are some of our brand new children, so they've only been in school a matter of days.
Phil has found a local graphic designer to work voluntarily on the boxes. Who said marketing's got to be expensive? I just hope he's made the boxes talk.
Initially, I was saying to him, one of the pieces of feedback we got from Proximity was perhaps about them being hard, harsh.
Despite what Caitlin from Proximity told Phil about the value of the old butterfly logo, Phil is clearly committed to the boxes, but at least he started to make them tell a story.
So I then went back to him and said, could you show us something that's perhaps got a bit more information on it? I talked to him about it, and he came up there with these two versions, and we're looking at perhaps using our own children's artwork in those, but going for a very, very straightforward image which suggests care development, learning and opportunities.
This is fantastic progress, because if we just compare what you've currently got, which are the straightforward blocks of colour, I mean, that's fun, that's lively, that's colourful, but you don't get any hint of any message behind that.
No.
It takes an awful lot of work to explain what that is. You then compare those very simple blocks with this, and here there's clearly a message going on behind that.
I'll just show you, because he's also been working on the website.
Okay.
And this is a work in progress, but we're really pleased initially with the view of this.
On the website, however, I'm very impressed with the progress. It tells a story that parents need to hear.
Our website.
So, yeah, you're absolutely on the right tracks there. The big message still, though, is getting people to test it and try it. That's the big challenge now. Marketing is no magic wand, but the starting point for success is clear. Know what your customers want and build a great product to meet their needs.
So the sort of opportunity to learn from other sectors has not only been valuable for the school, but I've also found it personally very, very interesting. And I think I've been able to improve my own leadership as a result.
Schools see marketing and competition as grubby and unprofessional. Instead, they prefer to build a good service for their parents in the community and help them make an informed choice about it. Funny that, because in marketing, we like to build a good service for our customers and help them make an informed choice about it. So if you're going to do marketing, start with your customers, be consistent, and do it well.